Welcome to the first episode of the Crowley Crew live stream. I am very nervous because I've never done anything live. How are you guys doing? This is kind of awkward because you're delayed kind of, and I don't have the feedback yet. But today we are doing Ask Me Anything, a good old live stream, just talking about whatever questions you want to ask. You can tell, okay, so full disclosure, this is how I actually am when I'm recording my videos. I know it sounds like I'm doing a very succinct type of video, but I am like all over the place, and it takes me so long to just get a simple sentence out, and then I splice all those pieces together. Okay, started watching and subbed as soon as I got my M50. Yes, I live in Eastern North Carolina, right outside of Wilmington. My favorite EFM lens. Well, I don't have many EFM lenses. I have the kit lens, I have the 22mm f2, and then I have the 18-55 f3.5 to 5.6, the old kit lens. And those are the only EFM mount lenses that I currently own. Oh, by the way, if you're noticing the audio is bad, that's because I haven't gotten a microphone that plugs into my computer yet, so that's why. But back to the lenses. I have those three lenses, and so I haven't branched out more. I want to get the Sigma 16mm f1.4, but I haven't yet. It's just hasn't been in the budget. We've been trying to pay off a van, and now we got that paid off, but then we have tires and like all sorts of stuff that we have to still pay for. So it's not in the budget yet. I want to get some more equipment in the future, but I haven't. And I want to get like a kit of EFM mount lenses because I love the size of the smaller mirrorless lenses. When I started mounting EF lenses onto the M50, it just got too big. And so my favorite one is the 15-45, which is what I film all of my videos on. But other than that, I don't have one. Hey, View868, I'm doing good. What zoom lens would I recommend for people with the M50? I don't know. I haven't tried many zoom lenses, though I did like the 24-105 EF mount lens. I really like that one mounted on the speed booster, but I don't know if it would be long enough for weddings. And audio's okay. Yes, unfortunately the M50 has a delay with the USB connection. I'm actually, as part of a video that I'm making for tomorrow about how to live stream on the M50, and that's coming, well, either tomorrow or the next day. I haven't figured that out yet. I tried using the Rode Video Micro on my PC, but I couldn't get it to work. I don't have a powered Rode microphone. Does that make any difference? What are my thoughts on the EOS R? That camera is nice. My friend Cody Maluski, he has one, and he absolutely loves that camera. Though I think he said recently that he's going to be replacing them with Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6Ks because he got one of those, and he likes that camera even more than the EOS R and has been using it for photos, just extracting 6K files from that. And he really likes that. But he did, probably since the EOS R came out, he's been using it for his filmmaking, and he has one of the fastest growing production companies in Wilmington, and that's what he's been using for most of it. He loves the 10-bit on that. Okay. My biggest worry before I post a video. So I already had been doing a totally different type of videos before I ever started doing the tech videos. And so I already was kind of into it, but it wasn't, with posting my first vlog, it was so different than what I had been doing. And then when I posted my first tech video, I was like, probably no one's going to watch this. And so my biggest worry was just that it was not going to get any views. And I really enjoyed making that video. That was my first EOS M3 video. But really, you just got to do it. It's very difficult to take that first step. But once you start taking steps, I mean, if you go back to that first video I did, it's called Filmmaking with the Canon EOS M3. That video is not good. Like, I'm like, whenever I see that video, it's bad. Surprised I didn't got the EOS R and I got the GH5 instead. Yeah, I didn't want to just stick with the Canon system for, at that time, we didn't know what Canon was planning with the further EOS R and EOS M lines. But I'm a big fan of DSLR video shooter, and I really have liked the GH5 for what it is. And the stuff that the GH5 has offered, I wanted to play with stuff like anamorphic, 10-bit. And so I went with the GH5, not as much as this is the best camera ever, but because this is a camera that I can learn some of the things that I want to learn. Now, a lot of that's on hold until I get a new computer, because I am using like a 5-year-old laptop for all of my video editing. It can't even play back 4K. It's just not very powerful. And so I want to do more with the GH5, but it's sat on my shelf more than anything else. But I want to learn, and that's why I got the GH5 instead of the EOS R. Because the EOS R is like a beefed up, way better version of the M50, whereas the GH5 is totally different. What is B4, Mr. V? How long would Canon support EFM lenses now that the EOS R line is getting popular? That is an interesting question, because it actually looks like Canon might be doing some exciting things with the EFM line. I've heard that they're going to make an M50 replacement and an EOS R5, not even not EOS R5, the M5, not that, but something a step above that. So it's a step above the M6, and I'm really curious about what they're going to do with that, because they're talking, at least that's the rumbling in the rumor circles, that the EFM line is not dead, and that I'm really curious to see what's going on, because if you would have asked me 6 months ago, I would have been like, yeah, they're going to kill the EOS M line, but it doesn't look like it. How did I learn filmmaking? I watched YouTube videos and practiced. That's it. It's funny, I had never done like a B-roll segment until I watched Peter McKinnon's video on super high quality cinema cameras, his first video with the C200. And he has a little B-roll segment in the beginning of that. And I was like, I have to learn how to do that. And after that, it's just been consuming as much as possible, and then finding Maddie and the learn, make, repeat motto is pretty much all I've done to learn filmmaking. What is my main lens that lives on my camera? It's the 15-45 lens. I love the size of that one. It's easy to carry around. That's the main thing. And then having the variable ND filter that I have for that lens, I pretty much learned that lens and that camera inside out, so that I don't even have to look at the screen half the time. I can just adjust things. And like with the f3.5, it's not an amazing like shallow depth of field, but it works really well with the cheaper variable ND filter, because you don't have to use too much ND, and therefore you don't, therefore you don't get to that cross polarization that NDs normally have. So I almost always am using the 15-45 lens, though right now I'm using the 18-55. How do I manage work, family, and YouTube? That is a very good question, because that one's been really hard as of late. I have a special needs daughter, if you didn't already know, and she's had a roller coaster of a time over the last few months. And so that's why my upload schedule has been really out of whack. Normally, I was posting for 2 years straight every Saturday at the same time, and then I just over the past few months, it's gotten really difficult. I've still maintained that one video a week, but I haven't been able to do it during the week as much. Sorry, I thought I heard one of our monitors beeping. I haven't been able to do that as much during the last few months. And so I'm more and more pushing my videos around and not uploading on a regular schedule. But I'm still trying to get back to that one video Saturday morning, just because that was the system that has worked best for me in the past. And I think if I can get back into it, it'll work best in the future. But really, that's something that you have to figure out with your spouse. I mean, right now, my wife was able to take the kids out to the grandmom's, and they're playing over there. That's why I'm actually able to do this, because if they want, I wouldn't be able to. Thank you, Dennis Van Geisen. Dennis Van de Geisen, I think. Sorry if I got that wrong. You have a lens that is too wide. Want one that goes more up and down. Are you talking about like something that has a larger zoom range? So I'm assuming you might have like the 11 to 22 millimeter. I would maybe look into, if you want an EFM lens, I think they have an 18 to 150, which is a pretty solid lens. It's not like super sharp. It's basically like all the other EFM lenses. It's made to be a small, cheap lens that mounts on your M50 and just kind of works. It's not specialty anything, but you might want to look into the, I think it's an 18 to 150. Yeah, I think the EFM, if Canon continues to put effort into it, I think that it could be the perfect YouTube photo camera, because I love almost all of my thumbnails are taken with the M50. Almost all of my videos are taken with the M50. And if they got some better lenses for this, even if they had like just a sharper kit lens that was a little bit faster, I would be really happy with that. Andrew Doyle says, I used to have an RP and used to have an M50. They are very similar. Would you consider reviewing? I actually have thought about getting an RP, but again, it goes back to that I'm not made of money thing. And maybe sometime in the future, if I had the opportunity, like if I met someone who had it that I could borrow it, I might do a video on it, but I'm not going to buy it at least anytime soon. Using Rob Christiansen, sorry if I got that wrong, says he's been using a 24 millimeter EFS with an adapter for live streams. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talking about the 24 millimeter EFS mount, which isn't the EF mount, the one that has IS, but I've heard a lot of good things about that lens recently. Top 3 tips to grow your channel as Purple 87SS. I don't really know. I haven't. The thing is if you like made a list of all of the YouTube things that you're supposed to do, I've done none of them. Other than just trying to produce my content. I kind of do tags, but as we know, tags are becoming less useful. YouTube is using them less with the metadata. So I've just tried to improve my content, which is also my thumbnails and my videos. And then I also, my idea about growing a YouTube channel is I want when someone comes to my video, say clicks on one of my newer videos, I want them to say, this guy's really good. I want to see what else he has. And then have a dozen, 2 dozen. Now I have like 100 or 200 videos that people can go back and say, this guy's worth subscribing to. Not only is he producing a good video right now, but he is producing dozens, hundreds of good videos. That's been my only thing that I've done for YouTube growth, is just making content. That's all the answer I really have for you. Thank you, Dennis Van de Geisen, and I know I got that wrong. Do you like cabinet making as much as filmmaking? I don't make cabinets. I'm just an installer, actually. But no, I want to transition to filmmaking or YouTube eventually. Your niche is car vlogs, and you drive an '87 Buick Grand National and an '84 Monte Carlo SS. I don't know actually what either of those are. I'm not a car person. I drive a minivan and a Ford Transit van, but I assume that there are cars that are nicer cars. I think I know what a Monte Carlo is, but I'm not sure. Uh, I think that you could make that work. I mean, any niche that's in demand, I think you can grow a channel on, but you're going to be capped by the subject of your video. There was actually a concept, and I want to make a video on this. I was talking to my father-in-law, who is very successful, and one thing that I've talked with him a lot about, and he's told me, is that sometimes you have to move out to move up. And this is something that he actually used in his career several times, is not staying somewhere where he's limited, but moving out in order to move up in a company. He's not just trying to ride one company until he gets up to the top, but actually, if he gets a better offer somewhere else. And the way I apply that is with my niche. I've been doing videos on the M50, and my apologies. And I've been trying to expand that and not just do videos on the M50, because videos on the M50 will limit me to people who have an M50 and people who previously had an M50 and are still kind of interested in it. I understand not everyone who watches these videos has an M50, but I want to move out of just the little niche of the M50, little in comparison, and move out into a broader one, but still have that core subject. So it might be a good idea, if your car vlogs are not getting views, to maybe expand it to something that there's more eyes on. There might be more competition, but there's more eyes on. And so maybe pick a secondary thing. Like, I love filmmaking theory, mindset stuff. And so I've been including that in my videos and making videos about that, and not just the M50. And so it might be a good idea to take like a secondary interest you have and make some videos on that. By the way, I want to ask you, how does this footage actually look on YouTube? Like, I don't know. I got this, but is it nice and sharp, or is it kind of just not good? Because I've never actually seen how good it looks. Will I get the M52 if it comes out this year? I will be really tempted, and if it's in the budget, probably. That would be pretty dope. That would be awesome. The 50, you have the 50 millimeter, and yeah, I love the 50 millimeter with the Viltrox. That is a great combination. It's not EFM lens technically, but that's actually something I love. The size of the 50 millimeter and how well it works with the M50 with either the regular adapter and the speed booster. So if you're looking for another lens that's sort of I call it my cinematic B-roll lens, that would be a great lens to get. Bit choppy. Sharp but choppy. Thank you. That's exactly what I'm thinking. He's Rob Krasanchan. Sorry. Rob says, make content for your audience, the audience you want, not the audience you have. That's very true. But it's not just, you can't just make the content for the audience you want, because you might not know what exactly your audience wants when you start making videos. So you also had to balance that with making something that you want to. Now, I don't believe in just the idea of ignore what your audience thinks and make whatever you want, because that's not going to get you anywhere. It's like saying make a product, a tech product that no one really wants but you're interested in. You're not going to, you can do it, but you won't be successful with it. You have to make a product that's in demand. What lens would I recommend for close range and good smooth aperture? Are you talking, sorry about that. Are you talking about like a zoom lens, something like the 50 millimeter? Or are you talking about a wide lens that you can hold closer? Please clarify that with me, Parker. Getting close to the end here. Let me ask you, what types of videos would you like to see on this channel? And would you prefer an Ask Me Anything type of live stream in the future, or would you like to have a topic in your in the live streams? Like the 50 millimeter, but for close shooting. You mean holding the camera? You mean holding the camera close? I would look into the 24 millimeter EF mount 2.8 that has IS. That's a lens that I've been looking into because it's not that expensive, but it has IS, and with the speed booster, it's a good focal length for like vlogging, stuff like that. But it also has an f2 aperture. Moose Gear Goo, I just answered that. I would love to. It depends if it's in the budget. You're welcome, Mike Mena. If I was starting out now, would I choose the M50? That's a hard question, because if I was starting out now, I don't think I would know the strengths of the M50 like I do. I would probably say, you know what, the RP, it's not that much more expensive, and it looks really good. It has full frame, but the strengths of the M50 are sort of underneath the specs. It's something that would be really hard to answer, because I probably wouldn't, but if I had the knowledge I have right now, then yes, I would get the M50. If mine broke, I would probably get another one. 4K with less crop for the M50 Mark II, that would be awesome. Yeah. I actually haven't used the 10-bit footage on the GH5 Jordan Chase because I don't have a computer that can even play 4K, much less 10-bit 4K or 10-bit 1080p. And I've never color graded on the M50. Well, okay, I can't say never. I almost never. I am not streaming with OBS. I'm actually using the Canon driver that hooks up the M50 through the USB, and I'm just hooking it right into the live stream, right into the live stream, and it's using the M50 as a webcam. Basically, it acts like a driver, so where you would choose your webcam, you just go down to the Canon EOS Web Utility Beta, and that's what I'm using for streaming right now. I might want to use something that has less lag in the future. The lighting I'm using for this live stream right now, I'm actually, that's going to be in tomorrow or Sunday's video, but I have my key light right here. I have my background lights. This key light's about not a 45-degree offset. It's right here, but then it is 45 pointing down at me, just out of frame to give me the largest source, because the larger the source, if you didn't know this, the softer the light is going to be. I have my little LED light giving me a little bit of a hair light, as well as this window. For my background, have my YN303 bouncing off of the wall. This is a pretty standard lighting setup for me, but I'm going to have a first-person view what I see in my next video. I don't know what I'm streaming in, actually. Do I own an action camera? Kind of. I have a Hero 3 White. It's an old one. But I almost never use it because it's really not good quality. And I'm trying to set it back up because I had it recording. 480p, yeah. All right. 1050 has a webcam for work. Yeah, I think I had a feeling it was the USB 2 connection that was limiting us. Well, I wonder if the does the ESR have a USB 3.0? What advice for YouTube? Well, I actually have a for you. I am actually going to let you guys go. I think I hear a beeping, and I will be doing more of these live streams in the future. Thank you guys for stopping by. Sorry that the battery just went out.